Hey team. So today we're going to talk about as far as shoes. I get a lot in the clinic, individuals asking me what type of shoe should I have, or what I'm seeing are individuals that are excessive pronators or over pronators. And I've done a couple articles and possibly some videos on what overpronation looks like and the reasons that's negative for you. So if you have questions on the excessive pronation, just reach out to me or find one of those articles of mine. So today we're going to talk about the shoes for excessive pronators, because without the proper shoe, and if you start doing a running program or any type of a weight-bearing program over time, the shoes can be a critical factor on whether you're going to develop a plantar fasciitis, Achilles tendonitis, or some of these issues. So the shoe itself is an area that I tend to talk about quite a bit. So one of the key areas that I want to make a note of is that New Balance, Saucony, Brooks, and ASIC are all shoes that typically spend a significant amount of energy developing a proper walking and running shoe, such as this one. And the reason I pick those four companies is because their shoe overall is right on par with an individual that has excessive pronation. So what we're looking for is certain variables. The shoes to avoid or the Nike Frees, or even New Balance is looking to compete with some of those Nike Frees, and they're these minimalist shoes that there's not much support to them. They're very airy, they're very light, and they're usually less expensive. So individuals tend to draw towards them because of the price as well as the lightness to them. However, I want to make a note that for an individual that is a overpronator, this type of a shoe with activity, exercise, weight-bearing, increased weight-bearing activity, walking programs, will need to be a part of their program to reduce their chance of injury. So what are we looking for with a shoe like this? Well, one, we want to have a firm heel counter. So this is one of three areas that you're going to look for with your shoe. This heel counter on the back should be really firm. So when I push on it and I squeeze on it, it should be really hard to squeeze. If it's super easy, kind of like at the top here, if it's that easy down here, that's usually a sign it's not going to be a supportive shoe for you. So the first thing we want is a firm heel counter. Number two is we want the ring test. We want to wring this out like a dish rag. And it should have some resistance to it. It should have some give to it where you're trying to twist it and it's fighting you. If you can just twist it and it just bends over itself really easy and it just twists super easy, it's not a very supportive shoe. It's not going to absorb the forces that you need, especially with excessive pronation. The third thing we're looking for is we're looking to compress it from each end. So my hands are like so, and I'm looking to squeeze. And you could see where the toes break, and I'm really looking for that toe break. Is the toe break going to be at this position, or is it going to be in the midfoot in this position? If it's in the midfoot, throw it away. You don't want it. That's not going to be a supportive shoe for you, and it's going to lead to plantar fasciitis, Achilles tendonitis, foot pain issues. So there's three ways that you can check to see before you buy a shoe or you put on a new shoe for a walking program, is it going to be supportive for you, the overpronator? The other thing to look for an extremely excessive pronator, an individual that's looking to do a running program, is we want to see this peanut shape. So you see this peanut shape, but one characteristic I want you to consider is the inside part here of this peanut shape being filled in. And when this is filled in, it's a sign that it's for excessive pronators. They purposefully fill this in and put extra cushion here to help with, as the foot comes down into this arch, this position with weight bearing, that there's some support over here to absorb that force. As you can see right now, if my foot came down and it went into here, it's going to push onto that side, but there's not going to be any support where that peanut is darting in. So for an individual that doesn't pronate much, this is a fine shoe, and it also has all the other attributes that will help absorb normal forces. But for an individual that is an excessive pronator, we want this to be filled in, and you'll usually see it because they'll have this nice white shoe or a gray shoe, and it has one uniform color, and then right in the middle here, they've blocked this out, filled it in, and then they change the color. And right here in the sole part, they've changed it usually to a gray. And that's just to signify to the consumer that this is for an excessive pronator type shoe. So that's a fourth variable for those excessive pronators that you can look for with that filled-in component to help with your shoes overall. But again, the whole purpose of this is to try and prevent injuries from occurring, Achilles tendonitis, plantar fasciitis, any type of foot pains, stress fractures, tibial tibial stress fractures, foot stress fractures. So our whole purpose is to really attempt to give you the knowledge to prevent those injuries from occurring in the first place. All right, team. 3 + 1, 4 ways that you can help with overpronation by purchasing the proper shoe. All right, team. Keep moving.